Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct a truly fascinating concept, one that affects every single one of us, every single day, often without us even realizing it. We are going to unpack the profound, mostly invisible relationship between people and the specific landscapes they inhabit. Because, as you'll see, that powerful combination fundamentally shapes exactly who we are.
To start us off, I want you to take just a quick second and picture your own hometown, or, maybe the neighborhood you live in right now. Visualize the streets, the buildings, the local parks, the people you see every day. What is it that actually makes that specific place feel like home? Is it the smell of the local bakery in the morning? Is it the way the afternoon light hits a really familiar skyline? Or is it something more intangible? Try to keep that specific image, those senses of your community, right in the front of your mind as we move forward. Because we're going to deconstruct exactly how that unique sense of place was built. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We are going to cover 1. The power of place, 2. Defining place identity, 3. The physical connection, 4. The social connection, 5. When landscapes change, and finally, 6. Looking to the future. Let's start with Section 1, the power of place. It is a fascinating and intricate interplay.
The absolute core premise we're drawing from our source material today is that the relationship between people, the landscape, and identity isn't just some background detail of life. You can literally think of it as an equation. People plus landscape equals identity. Neither of these elements exist in a vacuum, right? A landscape without people, well, that's just geography, and people without a landscape are totally unmoored. But when you bring them together, you construct what our sources refer to as cultural landscapes. Think about a coastal fishing community, for example. Their entire identity, their daily rhythms, their local economy, even their folklore, it is all completely interwoven with the ocean they live beside. That intersection is where a true sense of place is born. It's how a community figures out exactly who they are, based entirely on where they are.
Moving right along to Section 2, defining place identity, where we'll be deconstructing our surroundings. So how exactly does this equation work in practice? Well, when we zoom out and really deconstruct our surroundings, we find this invisible structural framework holding everything up. Place identity is not just one big, monolithic idea. It's built upon two distinct but deeply interconnected pillars, the physical and the social. Every hometown, every bustling megacity, every quiet rural village gets its unique identity from a highly specific blend of these two sides working together. You simply cannot have a true place identity without both of these structural pillars holding the community up. Which brings us to Section 3, the physical connection, the completely tangible world around you. Let's focus on that first pillar, the physical side. This is all about the concrete world that you interact with every single day. Honestly, it helps to think of this in terms of physical shells versus social inhabitants. The physical environment, the dirt, the roads, the concrete, the natural topography, that provides the vessel. It's essentially an empty shell. It dictates the rigid boundaries of a community, the flow of daily movement, and it acts as the literal three-dimensional stage upon which the theater of your daily life happens. But on its own, a physical shell is completely quiet. It's just sitting there, waiting for the inhabitants to arrive and give it a purpose. Looking a little closer at the physical elements, we see three main components here: buildings, landscape, and location. Think about your hometown again. The buildings. Are they towering skyscrapers that force you to crane your neck, or historic brick row houses that kind of keep you grounded? The landscape. Are you nestled up in a steep mountain valley or spread way out on a flat coastal plain? And the location. Where exactly on the map are you situated? These three physical elements act as the hard structural parameters that inevitably dictate how a community is going to grow and function. For instance, a steep mountain valley naturally limits urban sprawl. It literally forces a community to build densely, which naturally creates tight-knit, walkable neighborhoods. A flat plain, on the other hand, allows for wide, sweeping expansion, which can easily lead to a much more dispersed, car-dependent community. The physical geography literally molds human behavior. Now let's flip it over to Section 4, the social connection, breathing life into those locations. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the right side of our framework. Because, as we just noted, a stage desperately needs actors. If the physical side provides the shell, the social side provides the soul. This is the human element that latches onto the buildings, the landscape, and the location and infuses them with deep, profound meaning. This social pillar is what actually turns empty geography into a recognized, thriving community identity through narrative construction. The components of this social pillar are people, history, and culture. It's the specific individuals who live there right now. It's the shared history, the triumphs, the local struggles, the collective memory that happened on that exact physical soil. And it's the culture, the traditions, the local dialects, the art, the daily habits that evolve over generations. These are not just abstract concepts. They actively weave a narrative around the physical elements. Imagine a simple town square. Physically, it's just brick and mortar. But if that square was the site of a pivotal historical protest, or if it's where an annual summer festival has been held for 100 years, boom, it becomes a sacred space. That shared historical struggle and cultural tradition completely cement the community's bond to that physical geography. The people breathe life into the location.
All right, let's zoom out a bit for Section 5. When landscapes change, the macro forces of transformation.
So the thing is, neither the physical nor the social pillars are frozen in time. They are constantly shifting. Our source material highlights 3 massive external influences that can fundamentally shift a community's foundation: urbanization, globalization, and environmental change. And to be clear, we aren't here to judge these forces as inherently good or bad. We just have to recognize them as objective drivers of rapid transformation. A sudden influx of urbanization can rewrite the buildings and landscape of a town practically overnight. Globalization, driven by digital interconnectedness and shifting global economies, well, that can rapidly alter the local culture and people. And environmental change, like rising sea levels or shifting weather patterns, can fundamentally alter the literal location and the topography a community historically rests upon.
Remember, because place identity is an equation, changing one side changes the entire result. As these global forces alter the physical landscape, the social relationships, and the overarching cultural identity of a place must inevitably shift in response. When a town's physical landscape changes rapidly, say through gentrification or a sudden environmental disaster, the narrative construction of the people living there is severely tested. Sometimes people feel displaced. They experience a profound psychological sense of loss for the place they once knew. But often, communities prove to be incredibly resilient. They adapt. They form new traditions, they build new cultural touchstones amidst the new architecture, and they essentially rewrite their narrative to survive and thrive in a newly transformed space.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, Looking to the Future. Why understanding all of this actually matters.
Why does it actually matter that we analyze this interplay between people and changing landscapes? Why is understanding this structural dynamic so vital? So the crucial point is this. Understanding the intricate connections between people, landscape, and identity is essential for promoting cultural diversity, fostering social cohesion, and achieving sustainable development. If we want to build a truly sustainable future, we cannot just look at the physical architecture or just look at the social economics in complete isolation. Sustainable development actually looks like urban planning that respects the historical significance of a neighborhood before just bulldozing it. Preserving a community's identity means respecting both the physical landscape they cherish and the social history that gives it deep, enduring meaning.
I want to leave you by turning all the way back to that mental image of your hometown you pictured at the start. Really look at the physical structures and the social fabric around you today. Because as global forces continue to reshape our world, your local landscape is inevitably going to change. The big question is, as those physical and social pillars shift, how will your own community's identity evolve? It is an incredibly complex interplay, and you are an active part of it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep looking closely at the world around you.